fast, and Lee Sin and Janna once again going to be banned away.
Yeah, as well as the Azir, so LeBlanc is available again for Tockers if it's not picked up first for Kira.
That Azir is very strange.
No, it's not. He's really good at it.
Yeah, but it hasn't been banned away, hasn't it?
I have no idea. Maybe they run something particular that they think that Azir counters, but I know for a fact that Tockers is very good at Azir.
Well, they are mixing it up. Hard random. Banning away the Janna yet again, though, instead of the LeBlanc, which is quite strange. Hard random now with the first pick. Sivir was banned away, so Lex not going to hop on that one, and Gragas is the consideration for Symphony. They're going to lock that one through, and INTZ now able to throw in a couple of massive picks here. The Rek'Sai is available, the Maokai is available. There are huge picks left up on this map, and Revolta is thinking about Draven.
Yeah, I think that it will be the Maokai yet again to go over to the INTZ top laner Yang. Just very impressive when they have hard engage like that coming through. Denies it away from Smurf as well. Just makes a lot of sense in their matchup. I like the fact that Symphony, he's been able to grab Gragas. Looked okay on it in game one. Needs to do some more heavy lifting though. Going to be hoping to channel his Julius Tito from the...
Oh, Julius Tito, that guy. He is a Gragas player, if ever I saw one. That was some beautiful play coming through.
I have to see how it works out though. Taking a long time, and in the end they go for a LeBlanc as well as a Lulu pickup. Yeah,
so Lulu could either be for Jockster there on the bottom side, but could also be for Yang there in the top lane if they want to. Revolta, almost understandably, going to head back to that LeBlanc. Makes a whole lot of sense. And Symphony and Kira now up to them to pick up some different champions. And Kira probably won't try the Diana once more, but is going to lock away the Zed.
As well as the Morgana. So Morgana top coming through again, you would think, for the hard random lineup. And Zed being locked in for Kira. Big skill matchup coming through here. You need to be able to dodge out of this distortion with your ultimate to even look at winning any of the trades. See how it does manage to go, because Tockster has... Wow.
Tockster.
2 members in one.
Yeah, Tockster Cow.
Tockers has looked
player.
Fantastic in that mid lane on LeBlanc.
Yeah, he most certainly has. Really, really great play. And Revolta as well, able to really augment that because he gets the LeBlanc ahead almost consistently throughout these matches. We'll see what Ints decide to do. Alistair being looked at, potentially, for the support role. They've only got 10 seconds left, though. Rek'Sai is available. Revolta, a fantastic Rek'Sai player. Macau, thinking about picking up a cow, and that makes a whole lot of sense, as Alistair is going to be locked in. They're saving the AD carry pick for last, and Yang, that has definitely meant that we are going to have a Lulu in the top lane.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be that way. But we could have the very feared Lulu Alistair bottom lane coming through.
Oh.
Or Alistair top. We haven't seen him in a while, ever since Headbutt Sheen proc got removed.
Yeah, a little bit sad. He still sort of works.
No one was ever sad to see Alistair be booted out of the top
Apart
lane.
from the people that played Alistair top lane.
I played it.
And you didn't like the fact that it wasn't silly?
It was very silly, as we see a Jinx being picked up here and a Singed being looked at by Demonko.
Yeah, Demonko able to take the Morgana if they want to pick a top laner here.
Does look like they're looking for a top laner.
Yeah, so it does mean that we're not going to have Smurf on that Morgana in the top this time around. They are going to lock away Lissandra here, so making up for their lack of magic damage by shoving in a massive amount of CC there in the top lane.
Yeah, so able to grab a top laner. They had a magic top laner before if they were going to run Morgana up there. So it's magic for magic up there, but it will be Lissandra coming through. And we'll have to see what they want to run as an AD carry now, because there is some fairly hard single target lockdown with Morgana as well as Lissandra. Throw in the fact that Body Slam and barrels are going to be throwing everywhere. Probably don't want to run the Draven now, if that is a serious hover, just because of the amount of lockdown CC.
I really want to see something very aggressive early on, though, because pairing it up with an Alistair means that they can definitely have some really cool all-ins level 2.
Yeah, it certainly does mean that they have the potential to do that. One of the older lanes coming through, Vayne, Alistair.
This is one of the Vayne lanes that actually did very well.
Yeah.
Historically.
About 3 years ago, it was a very strong lane.
Yeah.
When you pulverized, Headbutt was about 6 meters long.
It's a different experience.
Yeah, much different experience now. You can't headbutt people from their auto attack range anymore.
A little bit unfortunate. You can most certainly not headbutt a Jinx from her rocket launcher auto attack range either, because that's about 700 units, and that would be pretty brutal.
So some late game scaling coming through there. Some decent protection for Macau, who's picked up the Vayne. I think it is a very risky pickup. If he ever gets locked down, it's a lot of the consistent damage going in the fight, and it's just going to be up to Tokkas to really get that done.
Yeah.
Also, not really a huge tank coming through, so if Zed gets ahead, really starts rolling in this lineup, not very many people can honestly stop Kira from going berserk, as he has an absolutely massive yawn.
Well, look, you've got to make sure you get those yawns out so that you can be right into it when the game does start. And Hard Random now with a very different team comp. Symphony back on the Gragas again. We'll see whether he has a better performance this time around. But Smurf on the Lissandra in the top and Kira now on the Zed. They've definitely changed things up.
Yeah, they certainly have. They've mixed it up. It's a very mid-game focused composition. We said it needs to be.
Yeah.
Need to be able to win these early game team fights. And I think they've put together a fairly decent lineup to be able to do that.
Yeah, and both of these teams as well, without dedicated tanks there coming through from the top lane, they're going to have tanky junglers, depending on how Revolta builds up the Rek'Sai. And they also have, of course, the Alistair there on the bottom side of the map. Of course, Unbreakable Will, pretty fantastic as far as soaking damage is concerned. 80% damage reduction, pretty okay as far as that goes. And Hard Random as well, they've got a relatively tankless lineup themselves, so a lot of early action potentially.
Yeah, and action for it to be explosive. This is what we haven't been getting with Cinderhulk being introduced to the league.
Yeah.
Has really taken away from a lot of these mid-game comps because tanks scale so well, but if they're not picked, then it's just going to be an absolute bloodbath, you'd assume. Yeah,
it could be really, really dangerous. But ladies and gentlemen, we are onto the Rift. Hard Random trying to claw their way back into this best of 5. INTZ 2-0 so far. The Brazilians looking brilliant towards getting into this grand final tomorrow.
Yeah, so they move out as a unit of 5. Morgana pretty much guarantees that you've got a good level 1. She's one of the few people that you can just take as a solo champion and will do relatively well with. In saying that, you always want to be careful if the other team has an Alistair.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you walk into him, not to mention the fact that Rek'Sai's around somewhere as well with a knock-up, you could just be in the air for a very long time. And one of you might not make it back down.
Well, if you think about it, the INTZ lineup has ridiculous knock-up potential. They've got Unburrow, Wild Growth, Pulverize.
Yeah, they certainly do.
That
if
is...
only they had a Yasuo.
Oh my goodness, the dream. That would be out of control. If they actually ever find Hard Random stacked up on one another, though, then that team fight is just instantly won. Because then you get double distortion over the top of it as well.
Yeah, you do, but after that, you don't really have that much AoE damage coming through. Maybe a Lulu to send a Glitterlance.
Yeah. Oh, and Macau builds a static Shiv. Oh yeah, the AoE. Well, Hard Random are going to give up on a potential invade here. We are going to have a lane swap, though. Or maybe just a top lane Vayne. It's looking quite interesting as Alistair is heading around with Yang here. And I actually quite like it. You still are ranged and melee. It is that sort of still support the ranged in the bottom lane. Except you've got a Vayne top instead.
Yeah, exactly right. And duo bottom lane means that it's risky going in for an invade on Revolta because they've moved both of the wards to be able to scout that one coming through there, and have to see how it works out here. Whether they can invade Revolta or whether Symphony just has to settle for being 3-buffed.
Yeah, well, Revolta is going to start on the enemy red. They do know that he did that.
Yang a little bit late here, couldn't get in there. Nice job from Joxer to be able to hold the creeps slightly away from the turret, so nothing going to crash in there, but Lulu is going to be pretty far behind early on in this game.
Oh, actually, Kira going to follow the Living Shadow there to dodge away from a lot of the damage. Symphony comes through. Beautiful flash to get away from the body slam as Tokka's almost going to burn down after that. Was a beautiful shuriken. Revolta has found Symphony. A little bit blind there.
Yeah, so Symphony, he could have actually picked up the first blood there. One of the mechanics with Gragas is that you can follow people's flashes even if it looks like it's at the end of your body slam, and it still does the damage as well as the knock-up. He finally gets chased out of there by Tokka's. In the mid lane, Kira no longer has flash available, but that was a good first game coming through. Getting rid of LeBlanc's summoner spell, her escape, is going to do good things. Allow Zed a little bit more breathing room in the mid lane.
Yeah, Joxter though, can use that Triumphant Roar, keep his bottom lane alive. As it's pretty unorthodox coming through here. Smurf actually getting pressured out by Macau. who now with those silver bolts doing a whole lot of work. There's the flash, first blood, 1v1 in the top lane, and that was some sexy Vayne play.
Yeah, it certainly was coming through. Now getting a ward down, making sure that Symphony might also fall here.
Yeah, Revolta is closing the gap here as well. Zed very far away. Preyseeker going to find Symphony. There's a Sigil of Malice. The barrel is going to slow Revolta down, but this is a definitely difficult situation
Kira
for
might
Symphony.
have been caught as well. Symphony burns a summoner spell.
Yeah, he flashes. He might actually be able to get out of here, though.
Yeah, but they're sending members from the bottom lane to keep him trapped in. He's still going to fall, and he uses a summoner spell to do it.
Yeah, the Ignite down here at the same time, but Distortion going to lock down the kill here for Tokkers and picks up a blue buff.
Yeah, so in the end, relieves maybe a little bit of pressure in the bottom lane, so Lex got some farm. I don't know what he was actually going for there, but Tokkers with the blue buff now has got a kill for himself. So all of a sudden, what looked like a good lane for Tokkers because of the fact that Symphony had put in some early work, went over-aggressive, made to pay.
Yeah, and INTZ now with a brilliant early start. Mikau going to be able to clear out a massive minion wave here at the same time. Smurf shoved this one in, did pick up a CS advantage, but that is a full wave that Vayne should be able to pick up.
Yeah, so able to get back in there. Has also got some lifesteal early on in the game with that Vamp Scepter, so going to be doing very well to stay healthy as Yang, as well as Jockster in the bottom lane, doing their best to try and CS with this unorthodox combo. We actually joked about the feared Alistair Lulu lane, but it's come to fruition. So.
Well, you wait until level 6, man. That is the pulverized
That is the unkillable Jockster.
Yeah, that is the unkillable cow as well. Like, man, crazy. Jockster, Tokkers, sorry. We are getting those names very confused today, but Kira able to do a whole lot of damage here to this LeBlanc and has a gigantic experience advantage.
Yeah, so able to get in there, get some good work done. Symphony falling very low here on the Dragon. They know what's going on as well. Can you get in there? Just get out of Unburrow because they're so low. This is a double kill waiting for you, Revolta.
Yeah, Revolta get in there. Kira, he's come around here now as Symphony almost within smite range. Revolta wants to find it here as they've stopped the damage. The knockup comes through, but he picks up the kill, and the Dragon is taken down by Zed of all people. That's a double kill if you count the Dragon as one of those. Jockster actually heading over this wall. Living Shadow gonna get Kira out of here. He wants the headbutt pulverized, but Dark Binding from Damonko.
Flash, he could have got over it, Atlas, but in the end misses the opportunity.
No. Isn't going to get there.
Yang also picked up a kill in the bottom lane, helped out by Jockster to take out the AD carry player there, and they pick up the Dragon, they get a kill for it, but already 4-1 in favor of INTZ.
Yeah, Smurf sent back yet again as well. Deathmark has been acquired here by Kira, now able to put a lot of pressure onto Tokkers. He is in range there as Deathmark comes through. Chain's not going to land. Jockster comes through, but Tokkers, Deathmark almost doing enough to take him down, as now the Relic Shield going to help heal him back up just a little bit. The ultimate now on cooldown, but Kira able to get a lot of work done, so this LeBlanc going to be very scared about heading back into this lane.
Yeah, and blue buff still hasn't been acquired on the side of INTZ, so that is pecurious there. It's been up for a very long time.
Both peculiar and curious. That is a devastating combo of unsurety. Unsurety. Holy.
Wow.
This is not going well. There's the flash pulverized headbutt onto Damonko before he could use the Black Steel. Kira, though, going to take down Tokkers. He gets Skirmishing Sabered, but Jockster now burning down. He's going to die to the Ignite. Double kill for Kira's Revolta. He flashes, gets the shutdown, wanders out of the Dark Binding, and he's just going to burrow his way out of there.
Yeah, so able to shut down the 3-1Z, but you think the damage is already done. Maybe someone left a door open somewhere because all of a sudden Hard Random has some hope.
Yeah, they've got an opportunity to get back into this game. We've got the 2 power items for the very early game here for Zed already completed. Bilgewater Cutlass Brutalizer, the BB of massive damage, and Smurf doesn't take the tumble auto. But Mikau, he's had his run of the lane up here.
Yeah, he certainly has. Up in CS quite far, 12 if you compare him. And Vayne does relatively well in 1v1, likes the levels, likes to be able to duel people, so it makes sense. Lulu with support, double support lane coming through here. Thank goodness Double Targon's never made it into competitive play, otherwise this might be a standard thing, Atlas. But Symphony's only level 4 on the second round of his buffs, and he got it from that blue.
That is terrifying. Revolta, level 5 now. is going to be able to give away the blue buff, hit up a few more camps, and maybe even get to that Void Rush very, very soon. So this jungler with a massive lead.
Smurf once again going back, has teleport available this time.
It's a very homesick Lissandra. Lex, though, able to clear out these minions. Demonko helping zone away the bottom lane of INTZ. And this Jinx has had relative free farm and is very far ahead.
Yeah, so Jinx is doing well, but when you compare them, they're about equal because the top lane is also about 10 CS ahead. So that's not really working out in either favor as they go in top.
Yeah, death mark to be found here onto Macau, but he gets a brilliant condemn. The Shuriken's doing some work as Macau actually going aggressive, but he's only on 200 health, might need to get out of there, but it does mean that Kira, no more tools to get that kill.
Yeah, fairly even trade though, because there's 3 members now heading top. Will not be able to catch out anyone. They've gone for a lane swap. They've thrown the Z against the Vayne.
Yeah, this is some interesting work. Wild Growth there on the bottom side. Chomper's not going to find anyone here as Hard Random looking to try and get something done, but Lex on half health. Not a whole lot of mana either.
A weird pink ward sitting in the middle of the lane. Didn't see where that came from, but it's gone now.
Well, it would make sense if this bottom lane was a normal bottom lane and Vayne had just used her ult, but she's in the top lane, so it makes no sense.
It was also the side that has the Vayne on it that dropped the pink ward, so it still wouldn't make sense.
All right. So very, very confusing. Yang able to get a bit of damage down. Nice Dark Binding from Demonko, able to get some damage.
Oh, the double Glitter Lance coming through.
What does it mean, Spawn?
Means twice the slows.
Ah, right. Okay, so it makes a little bit more sense than you'd otherwise think. 400 gold now the lead for Hard Random. For INTZ, sorry. Looking over at the blue side, expecting that one to come through, but Hard Random do have the Dragon. So this game much more even than the last. Hard Random having a much better time of it as another longsword has been completed by Kira.
And Kira was the member that they didn't want to get ahead. We said if he gets rid of one of the members, he can go absolutely berserk on the back line, and that's exactly where they're at. Macau now needs to be careful in this top lane because he's in a position to be soloed out. Zed has the ultimate available, I believe, just coming back off cooldown, but has the Ignite as well as the Flash. You would think he's in a position to make a play in the top lane.
Yeah, Yang able to use that Whimsy, get out of the way of the Dark Binding. Puddle going to come through and get a lot of money from that Spell Thieves, if nothing else. Level 8 hit by both of these pseudo top laners as Revolta looking to come in on this one. Smurf does have the ult on cooldown now as Macau. He's going to get ignited. Nice condemn to try and get... Oh my goodness, he needed that as Symphony just flashes with the ult and picks up the kill.
Yeah, so able to chuck the cask in there and able to pick it up in the end. They'll also grab the turret in the top lane. So finally, Hard Random in what is a little bit of a strange composition coming through from INTZ, grabbing some early advantage.
Yeah, able to pick up the kill. Smurf still with that ult on cooldown. Does have Revolta waiting in the wings here. INTZ looking to go for a play as Smurf heads towards the creep wave. Probably a bad idea. It's Glacial Path going to get him out of there. Revolta goes for the dive but doesn't want to. And Smurf, with no mana at all, is able to escape.
Yeah, so able to get through there just enough for that Glacial Path to come through. And both mid laners have to go back. You have to think with Tokka's prioritizing the arm guard there. That is why the swap came back through. All of a sudden, Lissandra, she's going towards an Abyssal Scepter, which is itemized much better for this lane.
Yeah, looking a whole lot better. And they must have known this ahead of time because Smurf didn't have any of the makings of that arm guard to try and deal with a Vayne. And instead, just going to look a whole lot better against the LeBlanc.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, for 30 CS coming through here for the Jinx. We said it was relatively equal, but
not anymore.
BF Pickaxe versus just the makings of a Blade of the Ruined King. As Jockster needs to be careful. Dragon is back up. Yang is in the top lane. Tokkas is in base. This will be the second Dragon to go across for Hard Random.
Yeah, INTZ just going to give that one away. Of course, second Dragon doesn't mean too much, but equalizing those 6% stats would have been something that INTZ really wanted to do. Not going to be able to here.
And it's a stepping stone towards the fifth. They're going to be able to catapult this lead through. It's only 12 minutes. That's when you would expect maybe the first Dragon to be started off. Especially if you're looking at last game where it was just deprioritized completely, as we see INTZ. They're starting to, I guess, falter a little bit.
Yeah, just a little. Tokka's able to clear out that minion wave with the ultimate, of course on a very low cooldown, so it's not going to be missed too much. As Macau able to get his way back in this lane, and now things have finally equalized themselves just a little.
Yeah, so everything calming down a little bit. Once again, Yang's got that 20 CS advantage in the top lane. Lissandra has been sent back up there as more aggression in the mid lane.
Yeah, Kira actually gets the auto attack down there as well. Tokka's not doing a whole lot of damage here to this Zed, who hasn't built any magic resist, but is shrugging off the damage from this arm guard Tokka's. Has to be very careful with the mana. Hasn't been able to go for that Athenes or anything like that. Mikau continuing to try and even out this CS lead. Is doing a decent job as Kira again goes aggressive. Distortion, Mimic Distortion, going to be used by Tokka's to escape. Yeah, so looking to just get away. Now a real dive potential coming through for Zed. And all of a sudden, Tokka's has to be incredibly careful. Zed 3-1-1. If he picks up another kill, you think that he could just take over the game. Yeah, and Lex going super aggro here through the minion wave. Mikau and Joxton now looking to try and re-engage. Symphony's heading back to base. It will be a 2v2. Revolta doesn't have too many localized tunnels in order to get himself in here. But the gold lead is nothing. It's 200 at this stage. Yeah, exactly right. But you would have to think with a Jinx, with the Lissandra, fantastic scaling. They're going for a gank. Yeah, Symphony looking for a Dark Binding. Lands onto Mikau. He gets chomped up as well as Lex. Beautiful positioning. Demonko not going to get the stun from that Soul Shackles, and the Cow's going to escape. But Joxton nice flew in there. Flash headbutt to try and get Lex away from his AD carry, but it wasn't enough. In the end, the kill goes across. And INTZ, I think they may be regretting keeping their lane swap for so long as Kira just blows up Tokka's. Yeah, he got squelched there in the mid lane, did the LeBlanc. Kira able to pick that kill up. 2,000 gold now, all of a sudden the lead here for Hard Random. The final outer turret now potentially going to fall as Kira even able to take down that tunnel. Really nicely done. Revolta flashing out of the way of the max range Dark Binding, and here goes the final outer turret, and Hard Random now with so much control of this map. Yeah, exactly right. They're able to do whatever they want. Another 2.5 minutes until Dragon is available. They will just go back, shop, pick up some completed items. You'll think that's the Infinity Edge as well as nearly the last Whisper coming through for Kira in the mid lane. And they can just run away with this mid game. They are so strong as a team comp. You got Zed, you've got Lissandra. Gragas does ridiculous damage. Not to mention they've got an accelerated Jinx, because CSing much better than the Vayne. They're in a really good position to take this one away. It's actually the Blade of the Ruined King that's picked up there for Tokka, for Kira in the mid lane. He's going to be doing ridiculous burst damage. That would have been 1,800 gold sitting in his back pocket to pick that one up. Yep. Not too bad here for the Zed, 4-1-1. 6 CS in the lead, and that is going to be the Zhonya's Hourglass. Completed now for Tokka's, so probably thinks that he has a little bit more of a chance in the 1v1 situation, but has no mana regen. There's no utility available here. No cooldown reduction, nothing for LeBlanc to really be able to get much done. Invade coming through on the blue buff from Revolta and Tokka's. Yeah, they're looking for something here. Multiple wards going to go down, but Smurf was able to pick up that blue. So they're able to transfer the blue over to Lissandra. Zed, meanwhile, 2v1 in this lane. Looking very comfortable. Mikau not really in a position to be able to fight him as well, to be honest. They might be able to shove this one in. Will they go for the dive? Yeah, they're looking for something here as there's the Condemn into the wall, but teleport to come through. They could have just focused that turret, though. It is going to fall down. Yes, the last caster creep. Hero caster creep going to take that one down. Yeah, so they're able to grab a turret. They burn a teleport. All of a sudden in the top lane, Tokka's has some free time, and they might be able to equalize at least 2 turrets to 3 here. Yeah, Yang does have a whole lot of wave clear as well. Can hold on to this mid lane. Is that not going to find anyone as Lex does get that one through and just continues to clear out these minion waves. He's got a huge amount of farm here. Only about 10 behind the clock if you're counting it that way. Dark Binding tries to find something other than a wolf, and it doesn't. Revolta going to take one of his tunnels to get out. Joxter very low. Super Mega Death Rocket looking for it. The creeps help him out, and he takes down the support yet again. Yeah, so able to pick up another kill on this Jinx as they're starting the siege now. Able to rip through this one, although Yang clears out the rest of the creep wave, but the split push has begun. Zed, bottom lane, no one can go to him. Look, Mikau's like, I ain't clearing out that wave. He's just going to dive me. Sends Yang down there instead, but now who stops the Jinx from pushing in mid? Yeah, well, it's not going to be the Vayne, who is hanging around there but doesn't have a whole lot of wave clear on offer as Revolta looking for some sort of engage. Mikau hanging around here. Tokka's is going to move in as The Unburrow is being looked for here. Skirmish is going to be used onto Symphony as the Zap doesn't find Revolta. Kira rotating around now as well as there's the flash from Symphony looking for something. Knocks Revolta back into the team who wants to try and engage. Nice amount of knockups here, but not going to find anything as Lex has so much damage. Tokas is going to remove Kira though as Macau. The ultimate runs out. Final hour no longer there as Dark Binding just sails on by. Symphony gets chained up. The chain's still connected as Jockster. 3-man knock-up. Beautiful play as Smurf gonna ult himself. Lex free hitting in the back line as Toka's looking to try and take him out. But INTZ, they do protect their turret.
Yeah, they go 1 for 1. Meanwhile, bottom wave was crashing into that turret. So slightly in favor of hard random, you would think. But Kira, what are you doing? You dove a turret with an Alistair sitting there, was able to just get the knock-up, gave over a free kill for the team. And that could have been all kinds of bad for INTZ, but HR, hard random, they bring it out.
Yeah, HR works.
It just reminds me
Human
of
resources.
HR puff and stuff.
All right, human resources able to take down the map. No, not going to be happening as Macau doesn't get too much work done on that mid lane outer turret. Now has to be careful as there are multiple members heading towards him. He's going to back away quite nicely. And Kira was unable to complete that last Whisper, which would have been a massive damage spike for this Zed. In the meantime, Tokas is on the way towards that Morellonomicon. Yang has built up both the Athenes and those Lucidity boots, so 40% CDR required here for the Lulu, who has been a bit of a shining light here for INTZ, doing quite well.
Yeah, 40 CS up, but you can see that the Jinx is 40 CS and 2 kills ahead of the Vayne right now. Infinity Edge, Zeal, Berserker Greaves, and an extra dagger means that she is all kinds of strong right now, and they're going to move in for their 3rd dragon of the game at only 20 minutes.
Yeah, really nicely done. Revolta is going to get a ward down, so they'll have at least the timer on this dragon, but hard random easily able to pick that one up. A little bit of extra movement speed coming through now for the CIS team, and INTZ, they're going to need to really contest the next couple of dragons.
Yeah, they certainly do. Zhonya's Hourglass on the way now for Yang as well. Would have preferred just for him to go with the Death Cap, to be honest. He needs to be able to have all of the shields to keep Macau safe. If he's getting ultimated, it's nearly in their favor, to be quite frank, because he's not the carry they need. Right now, they just need Vayne to go berserk.
Yeah. And Macau, I mean, he picked up first blood. He definitely looked good, but is unable to keep up with the incredible amount of farm here onto Lex. And Lex able to pick up the kills as well with the ult. I mean, these Super Mega Death Rockets have been doing work in these fights, and no one able to really close the distance on the Jinx.
Yeah, exactly right. And you see they get some damage down in the mid lane, but Kira, he's able to zone 2 people away. And Smurf now looking to go in, doesn't take that path.
Yeah, Jockster actually looking for something. Gets Dark Bound, though, and doesn't have the ultimate on just yet. Of course, is available.
Yeah, so he went for the flash pulverize, didn't get it.
Oh, Tokas, he gets ulted up after he finds Smurf there. Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't find the LeBlanc, and they're just going to transition into taking down this red buff. Lex able to do that.
So a couple of ultimates burnt, though, by Tokas. He's just going to go back, continue to split push. Now Symphony looking for something.
Yeah, and INTZ weren't even going to try and capitalize on the extra ults that were used by HR.
Yeah, so hard random now. They're forcing the pace of the game. This is exactly what they have to do. They're going in.
Yeah, nice Whimsy Revolta flashing out of that one immediately. Beautiful Dark Binding on Akira to stop the knockup from coming through, but Jockster, that Unbreakable Will doing some work here as Vayne. She's ulted up, but not really finding too much. Nice Wild Growth as in comes the ult from Kira. So much damage. Damonko gonna fall down, but it's a double already for the Jinx. Kira does fall down, but man, INTZ are getting torn apart.
Yeah, Lex has got
still alive. What the hell? Tokas with a beautiful play is going to die, but Macau, is he going to do it? He is easily going to take down the fat man. Smurfs back up, but INTZ, they answer back, and the kills go to Vayne.
Yeah, so 4 for 4. I just want to point out that was a 4v5, though.
All right, okay.
Smurfs in the bottom lane. They had everyone available, so INTZ, you equalized the team fight, but they really didn't have every member there, which is a little bit not great still for your lineup coming through here. You saw that Tokas, he started to do some really huge amount of damage, but INTZ, they might even be in panic mode here. Are they going to start up a Baron?
Yeah, they do have the vision available to take down this ward. But they're not going to start the Baron, not with vision available here for Hard Random. They are going to clear out some pink wards as well.
Huge amount of CS in all of the waves. Hard Random have every one of them pushing currently. So Tokka's going to be able to clear out top lane. Yang in the bottom lane, he's doing the same. Has teleport available, so we'll be there for any fights that do start up around this Baron area. But Hard Random, they seem to have finally found some of their former swag that sent them on that huge game winning streak that got them to the playoffs in the first place. Yeah,
Living Shadow actually going to get Kira into this top side. Tokka's waiting for something as he chains up Symphony. Uses the distortion in order to escape. Of course, notices the 4 members of HR that are heading up here, and they're looking for this inner turret in the top lane. Yang continuing to split push. Actually might be able to get some work done here as Revolta makes his way back under this turret. And do INTZ have enough wave cleared? Not without Yang, as Jockster actually did go in aggressive, and there's actually the death mark to come down. Glacial Path to come through as well, but Yang, he's going to survive. Wild Growth going to help him out, and that's a lot of ults and initiation down.
Yeah, it certainly is. So now can INTZ make it work? Good find.
Oh, yeah, Tokka's uses the Zhonya's Hourglass at a beautiful time, though, as Smurf goes aggressive. There's the Frozen Tomb as Kira's going to take down Jockster. Nicely played by Hard Random. Smurf getting in amongst it there as well. Nicely engaged, but they don't get anything done on the turret, and they only get 1 kill.
Yeah, nothing yet as they're looking for the LeBlanc player. How did Smurf survive that? Zhonya's into his ult. Symphony might have been a little bit caught, but nothing coming through there. Just a pink ward to be cleaned up, and all of a sudden, it's INTZ with the waves pushing in their control is once again, wow.
Yeah, Lex actually, oh my goodness, the chain blocked from Kira. That could have been the death of Lex. And that could have been a lot of work done for INTZ, but not going to get it.
Yeah, Superman would have been happy, unfortunately not to be.
Oh, nicely done. I can't even be mad. That was beautiful. You and your comic books. Smurf, though, able to clear out this bottom wave. Send that one back towards INTZ. Macau getting some farm here. That is always scary for the HR lineup because, of course, Vayne scales beautifully, maybe for different reasons than a Jinx in the later stages of the game. But as soon as that QSS is completed, Vayne might be able to split push against this Zed with some outplay, with some sweet moves.
Yep. If she has some very fancy footsteps, I'll say that there is about a... I'm going to give it like 75-25% chance still to the Zed. Okay. I'll give her a 25% chance to kill it.
Ooh, Symphony looking for something here. Revolta is able to take down the blue buff, but...
Panic Smote by Revolta.
Panic Smitten.
Panic Smitten. I like that. That's really a band name.
As
they use the flame chompers to block out the entirety of that ramp. They've started up the 4th dragon. INTZ have to fight.
Yeah, Macau looking for it as well. Gets the Wild Growth as he gets knocked back into the pit. Beautiful condemned. Kira is going to fall down. Super Mega Death Rocket, though, does take out the Vayne. Kira's not actually dead,
Kira lived,
by the way. Just went back over the wall. Jockster finds himself on the wrong side of the fight. And, man, Hard Random doing so much work at this end of the game. It's a 5,000 gold lead. And ladies and gentlemen, the CIS team, they might be able to pick up a win.
Yeah, certainly look like that will be the case as they're streaming towards mid lane, trying to get the first inhibitor of the game in their favor. And they've picked a really good fight composition. You saw, even though Macau flew in there, tried to get so much work done with the Wild Growth, it just wasn't happening. Jockster, the poor Alistair player with some huge headbutt pulverizers in this game, just not able to get it done, and they break the base.
Yeah, they break the base. Unable to take the inhibitor just yet, but you have to think that that one's going to be on the cards very, very soon. Kira does make his way back up this mid lane. 5, 3, and 8 now on the Zed, and is looking brilliant.
Yeah, it certainly was, but it was a super mega death rocket that really saved Kira's life in that last fight.
That did so much damage,
Lex took down Vayne from about 3/4 health and just was able to blow him up. And with Vayne going the duelist build, no Phantom Dancer, no Static Shiv. Completely disagree with what Macau's committed to here, because realistically, he's not killing anyone in a 1v1.
No. Not happening whatsoever. Needs to be built for getting something done in a potential pick, team fight, something like that. Not entirely sure where they're going to be able to get any work done because things have been looking so good on the side of Hard Random. They have 5 of the 6 outer turrets already removed. Actually, no, 4 of the 6 outer turrets and 1 inhibitor turret as well. As Hard Random now pushing up the mid lane. Tokkers is going to have to go back after this split push.
Symphony's just so confused. He doesn't know which tunnels to clear out.
Probably any ones that he can see would be a good idea. Revolta, though, hanging around is red.
The brush.
Sad times.
Sad boy.
Yep, Damonko, though, clearing out this pink ward. Revolta doesn't want to give it up, but also knows that he's in a whole lot of trouble if he goes anywhere near this Hard Random lineup.
Oh, the ultimate.
Yeah, he's going to get Explosive Cast out of here, but not really going to find too much is Symphony. Tokker's looking for the distortion, doesn't get it. Nice Dark Binding and a land from Damonko as Macau does pop the ultimate. Beautiful Frozen Tomb, though, as the QSS does come down. Symphony just tanking up everything, and Yang, my gosh, this damage from the Jinx is doing so much. Jockster again with a nice headbutt, pulverizes. The chains come down as well. Smurf not going to follow that glacial path, as now Lex just getting so many rockets in through this backside. Symphony falls as a nice QR combo comes through from Tokkers, but they lose the inhibitor.
Yeah, but can they get anything done on the return? Tokkers goes in. No home guard boots currently available, so they'll just back out.
Yeah, does need to go back and pick up some health to come through, but Tokkers did do everything that he possibly could. They pick up the objective, though, to Hard Random, and now they're going to head back. Dark Binding going to find Revolta.
Jockster's in again.
Yeah, looking for something. Nice headbutt pulverize under Damonko, who was unable to get the black shield, in time, and lands the Dark Binding.
Jockster yells at him in response.
Yep, he's just going to pound the ground a little bit. He looks frustrated when he's in his passive, isn't he?
Yeah. Like he's playing this game, he's also...
Oh, jeez.
I think he's quite frustrated at the moment because he's having a pretty good game coming through on Alistair as Yang. He's completely caught out.
Wild growth comes through, but it's not enough. Tokkers just distorting into the wall. A little bit silly there as...
Well, he probably didn't even want to go over, to be honest.
Yeah, and a strategic headbutt.
And they're going to start up the Baron.
There is a ward over the side here. Yang is going to respawn in 20 seconds with the teleport available. INTZ could potentially go for something here. They're only down by 5,000 gold. So it does feel like there's much more of a lead for Hard Random than they actually have. But it just seems like, as far as these team fights are concerned, Hard Random have so many more tools.
5,000 gold, 4 dragons, 3 turrets. The entirety of the map is really in Hard Random's favor. I don't think there's a way that they can actually win a team fight right now unless they stall the game out for another 10-15 minutes. By then, 5th Dragon probably going to be taken.
Yeah, it's true. Macau actually going to get slowed down here as the Whimsy does come through. Explosive Cast going to blow Macau down a little bit. Final hour has been popped. There's the Ghost Blade as well as Kira gets some damage down. Hard Random now looking to disengage from this one. But there's the, oh my goodness, beautiful, massive ultimate to come down. But look at Smurf. Massive in the backline. Lex getting the auto attacks that he wants. Wild growth onto Macau saves his life, but Super Mega Death Rocket's gonna kill him. And Tokkers needs to escape. And Lex just with so much consistent DPS from the backline, and they can't do anything to him.
Meanwhile, in the base, Super Creeps are on the inhibitor turrets, and Hard Random are making a beeline for them, trying to win the game.
Yeah, Revolta is going to try and get back. Teleport in from Smurf, though, and Lex, this minigun is going to shred these turrets. Kira does get altered there a little bit by Tokkers, but not going to kill him. And Lex, with most of his health bar, is going to be able to find the Nexus. And Hard Random, they're looking for the comeback. 1 and 2 now.
Yeah, they certainly are. And that was a little bit of a strange game coming through from INTZ as we check out the Hard Random lineup. They look pretty happy coming through but they still need to win another 2 games for the reverse sweep to be made possible.
Yeah, but they have the momentum now moving into this one. They know, they remember how to win a game of League of Legends, and you definitely need to do that if you're going to win the best of 5.
Yeah, exactly right. So they come through with a really clean win in Game 3, actually. Just had all the answers coming through, and the Vayne pickup just didn't work.